You've been planting seeds wrong your entire life. And I know that sounds harsh, but once you see what most gardeners are accidentally doing, you'll understand why half your seeds never even sprout. Here's the thing, seeds aren't lazy. They're waiting. And if you know exactly what they're waiting for, you can trigger germination in a fraction of the normal time, sometimes overnight. We're talking about a trick so simple it costs almost nothing, a trick that professional growers use but almost never talk about publicly. And by the end of this video, you're going to have sprouts coming up faster than you ever thought possible. I'm going to show you how to prep your seeds so they wake up almost instantly, how to use one cheap household ingredient that supercharges root development from day one, and the biggest mistake that's quietly killing your seeds before they even get a chance. Most gardeners have no idea they're doing it. And the last one, almost nobody knows, but it works instantly. Also, if you've been battling tough stains, grimy surfaces, or that one corner of your home that never seems to come clean, you probably missed something important. We just broke down 17 shaving cream cleaning hacks that will blow your mind. And honestly, it solves problems most people have been ignoring for years. It's worth checking out after this. Now, let's get into it, because your seeds deserve better. Hack number 1. The overnight soak that changes everything. Most people just press seeds into soil and water them. Then they wait and wait. Sometimes nothing happens for 2 weeks and they assume the seeds were bad. Here's what's actually going on. Seeds have a hard protective coat. That coat exists to keep the seeds safe in the wild. But in your garden, that same coat is slowing everything down. The fix is shockingly simple. Before you plant anything, soak your seeds in plain room temperature water for 8 to 24 hours. That's it. What this does is soften the seed coat and signal to the seed that moisture is available. You're essentially telling the seed, now is the time. After soaking, seeds that normally take 14 days to sprout can pop up in as little as 3 to 5 days. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs, all of them respond dramatically to this one step. But here's where people mess up. Hack number 2, the water temperature mistake nobody warns you about. Here's the mistake. Most people, when they hear soak your seeds, just fill a glass and toss them in. But if your water's too cold, it actually shocks the seed and slows germination down. If it's too hot, it can damage the embryo inside. You want water that's lukewarm, around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Think comfortable bath water, warm enough to feel gentle, never hot. And use filtered water if you can. Tap water in many U.S. cities contains chlorine, which can interfere with germination. If you only have tap water, just let it sit out in an open glass for an hour before using it. The chlorine will off-gas on its own. Small detail, massive difference. Hack number 4, the hydrogen peroxide secret. Okay, this one is where things get interesting. Take that soaking water and add just a few drops of 3% hydrogen peroxide, the regular brown bottle from any drugstore. It costs about $1. Here's why this is incredible. Hydrogen peroxide kills mold, fungus, and harmful bacteria that can rot seeds before they even sprout. At the same time, it slightly softens the seed coat and boosts oxygen availability around the seed. The result? Faster germination and a dramatically lower loss rate. Seeds that would have rotted in the soil actually make it through. Add about 1 teaspoon of hydrogen peroxide per cup of water. Soak overnight, plant the next morning. You will not believe the difference. Tip number 4 is even more powerful, and most gardeners have never even heard of it. Scarification, the ancient trick that forces seeds to wake up. Some seeds have coats so hard that soaking alone doesn't do enough. This is especially true for morning glories, nasturtiums, sweet peas, and certain bean varieties. For these tough seeds, you need to scarify them. That sounds complicated. It's not. Take a piece of sandpaper, regular medium grit sandpaper from any hardware store, Fold it in half, rough side in, and gently rub the seed between the two sides for 10 to 15 seconds. You're creating tiny microabrasions in the seed coat. You're not grinding the seed down, just roughing the surface slightly. This mimics what happens in nature when seeds tumble through rocky soil or pass through an animal's digestive system. It allows water to penetrate faster and signals the seed to begin germination. After scarifying, do your overnight soak, then plant it. These two steps together are like hitting fast forward on nature. Hack number 5, the wet paper towel pre-germination method. Here's something almost nobody does, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful tricks in this entire video. Instead of planting your soaked seeds directly into soil, pre-germinate them first. Here's how. Take a paper towel, dampen it, not soaking wet, just moist. Lay your seeds out on one half, fold the other half over them, and slide the whole thing into a Ziploc bag. Leave it slightly open for airflow. Place it somewhere warm, on top of your refrigerator, near a heating vent, or on a warm windowsill. Check it every 12 hours. Within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes less, you'll see a tiny white root emerging from the seed. That's the radicle. That's the first sign of life. Once you see that little root, plant immediately. Lay the seed root side down, barely covered with soil. Now, instead of waiting for germination to happen in the dark soil where you can't see it, you've already done that step. You're planting a seed that's already awake. Germination rates skyrocket. Timing becomes predictable, and you stop wasting precious seeds on soil that wasn't quite right. But wait until you see what happens when you combine this with the next hack. Hack number 6, the soil temperature rule that doubles your success rate. Most people focus entirely on air temperature. They bring seeds inside when it gets cold, set them near a sunny window, feel like they're doing the right thing. But here's the mistake. It's the soil temperature that matters, not the air temperature. Seeds don't sense what temperature the room is. They sense what temperature the soil is. And cold soil, even in a warm room, dramatically slows germination down. Ideal soil temperature for most vegetables and herbs is between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Peppers and basil actually prefer 75 to 85 degrees. If your soil feels cool to the touch, your seedlings are struggling. The fix? A seedling heat mat. They cost between $15 and $25 on Amazon, and they're completely reusable. Set your seed trays on the mat and your germination times can drop by 30 to 50%. Don't have a heat mat? Put your seed trays on top of your refrigerator. The motor generates consistent, gentle warmth. Old school trick, still works. Tip number 7 is where things get crazy and almost nobody does this part. Hack number 7. The chamomile tea trick. Brew a cup of chamomile tea. Let it cool completely to room temperature. Use this as your watering liquid when you first plant your seeds. Chamomile has natural antifungal properties. It prevents damping off. That's the condition where tiny seedlings suddenly collapse and die at the soil line, almost overnight. Damping off is caused by fungal pathogens in the soil, and it destroys entire trays of seedlings. One application of diluted chamomile tea when you first water your seeds creates a protective environment. Completely natural, completely safe, and it costs almost nothing. Brew it strong, let it cool, and water your seed tray like normal. That's it. Your seedlings will thank you. Hack number 8. Light placement. The mistake that ruins seedlings even after they successfully sprout. Here's something that ruins seedlings even after they successfully sprout. People put their seedlings on a windowsill. The seedling reaches towards the light, it grows tall fast. The gardener thinks, great, it's growing. But that tall, stretched seedling is actually a weak seedling. It's called etiolation. The seedling is so desperate for light that it's sacrificing stem thickness for height. The result is a leggy, fragile plant that struggles when transplanted outdoors. Seeds and seedlings need strong, direct overhead light, not angled window light. A simple grow light set 2 to 4 inches above your seedlings for 14 to 16 hours per day solves this completely. Basic LED grow lights start at around $20 and last for years. No grow light? Rotate your tray 180 degrees every single day. The seedling will constantly readjust and grow more upright and compact. Not perfect, but significantly better than doing nothing. This is where it changes everything for your transplants. Hack number 9. The plastic wrap greenhouse trick. Want to create the perfect germination environment for almost $0? After you plant your seeds and water them, stretch a piece of regular plastic wrap over the top of your seed tray. Seal the edges, set it somewhere warm. You've just created a mini greenhouse. The plastic traps heat and moisture, creating a warm, humid microclimate that seeds absolutely love. You won't need to water again until germination happens. The moisture just recirculates inside. Check daily. The moment you see sprouts pushing up, remove the plastic immediately. Sprouts left under plastic too long will become pale and weak. But while the plastic is on, it's one of the most powerful germination tricks you can use for free. Hack number 10. Seed depth. The rule almost every beginner gets backwards. Seeds should be planted at a depth equal to 2 to 3 times their diameter, not their length, their diameter. So a tiny basil seed, barely cover it with soil, barely. A large bean, an inch down or slightly more. Tiny seeds planted too deep never make it to the surface. They run out of energy before they reach light. Big seeds planted too shallow dry out before the root can anchor. Read your seed packet for specific guidance, but if you've ever had seeds that just never appeared, depth was probably the problem. Hack number 11. The toothpick planting method for tiny seeds. Tiny seeds like lettuce, basil, and carrots are notoriously hard to plant because they clump together. You dump too many in one spot, they compete, and you end up with a tangled mess. Use a toothpick. Dampen the tip slightly, touch it to a single seed, and place it exactly where you want it. One seed, perfect placement. No more clumping. For seed trays, this lets you place exactly one seed per cell. Your germination becomes predictable, your seedlings grow evenly, and you stop wasting seeds. Simple tool, game-changing results. Hack number 12. Bottom watering, the method that builds stronger roots. This is where most beginner gardeners are unknowingly setting themselves up for weak plants. When you water from the top, roots learn to stay near the surface because that's where the moisture is. The plant becomes dependent on frequent shallow watering. When you water from the bottom by setting your seed tray in a shallow dish of water and letting the soil absorb moisture upward, roots are forced to grow down to find water. Deeper roots mean stronger, drought-resistant plants. Bottom water your seedlings once they've sprouted. Set the tray in about half an inch of water. Let it sit for 30 to 20 minutes. Remove it, let the excess drain. Do this every time instead of pouring water on top, and your transplant success rate will dramatically increase. Almost nobody does this part, and it's one of the biggest differences between weak seedlings and strong transplants. Hack number 13. The Ziploc bag refrigerator trick for hard-to-germinate seeds. Some seeds, especially wildflowers, native plants, and certain perennials, need a period of cold before they'll germinate. This is called stratification. It mimics winter. Here's the cheap, easy way to do it. Dampen a paper towel. Place your seeds inside it, fold it up, and seal it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator, not the freezer, for 2 to 6 weeks depending on the variety. After that cold period, pull them out and plant immediately. These seeds will often germinate within days because you've mimicked exactly the natural trigger they were waiting for. This works incredibly well for lavender, milkweed, columbine, and many native wildflowers that stubbornly refuse to germinate without cold treatment. Hack number 14. Labeling, the step that saves you from starting over. This one sounds boring. It's not. Unlabeled seed trays are one of the most frustrating gardening mistakes you can make. Everything looks the same as a sprout. You mix up your peppers and tomatoes. You plant them in the wrong spots. You waste an entire season. Use a permanent marker on a popsicle stick or a piece of tape. Write the plant name and the date you planted it. That date matters. It tells you if germination is running late and something needs to be adjusted. 1 minute of labeling saves you from weeks of confusion. The summary, because you just learned what most gardeners never figure out. Let's bring this together fast. Soak your seeds in lukewarm water with a few drops of hydrogen peroxide the night before planting. Scarify tough seeds with sandpaper first. Pre-germinate on a damp paper towel in a bag before they ever touch soil. Keep your soil temperature, not just your air temperature, in the right range. Water with chamomile tea to prevent fungal problems. Use overhead grow lights to prevent leggy seedlings. Cover your trays with plastic wrap for a free greenhouse effect. Plant at the right depth based on seed diameter. Use a toothpick for tiny seeds. Bottom water to build deep, strong roots. Give cold-dependent seeds refrigerator stratification. And label everything. These aren't complicated. They don't require expensive equipment. But every single one of them is something most gardeners skip. And every single one makes a real visible difference. You didn't just watch a gardening video. You just learned how to give every seed you plant a dramatically better chance at life. Now, if you thought this was useful, here's something worth knowing. Most people struggle with keeping their home clean for the same reason they struggle with gardening. They're using the right products the wrong way, or missing one step that changes everything. What most people don't realize is that one of the most powerful cleaning agents in your home is something you already have under the sink. And once you see what it can do, you'll never clean the same way again. That's exactly what we're breaking down in 23 Dawn dish soap hacks that clean your entire home, better than expensive products. Don't miss it.